maintenance. When you plant grasses, it's a very good idea, since they like the drainage, to plant them up on a hill. Now, it doesn't say calyxes are that way. A lot of the calyxes will do fine with water around the roots or moist soil. But most of the grasses really do like drainage. So if you could plant them on a little mound, that's great. Put a little quarter can in the hole, quarter can gravel, and also some time-release fertilizer. That's the only time you'll ever fertilize the grass is when you first plant it. Put a little compost in with the soil, and the only thing you'll have to do from then on as far as fertilization is in the spring just put compost around the crown, not on the crown, but around it, and that will provide enough nutrients for it to grow 16 feet high, which is pretty amazing. Let's see, pretty much that's it. You can plant any time of year as long as you're planting from a black nursery pot. The thing is, if you plant in the summer, you just need to water, water, water. So the best time to plant really is in the spring and the fall. Either works very well, but grasses are so forgiving. You know, you can really, if you take good care of them, when you put it in the ground, it'll do well for you. That first year, you want to water them really well so that the roots will go deep and they'll be more drought tolerant the next year. Okay, cutting them down. How do you know when to do it and how do you do it? Basically, if they're evergreen, for instance, this is perfect example. If they're evergreen, what you do is simply pull them up like this to the top, and you cut off any of the edges that look damaged from the winter. Then you take your hands and just rake out anything the dead leaves will come out as you rake it with your hand. If you have a whole lot of grasses, you might want to use a lawn rake. That's all. A lawn rake.
A lawn rake.
A lawn rake, yeah. You don't want to do this on 100 plants. Lawn rake works really well.
Gloves too.
Yeah, yes. Yes, some of the leaves are sharp, so gloves are a very good idea. Now, if they're deciduous, that means if they turn tan once it freezes, then what you want to do is wait until you see the first green growth coming up in the spring. That could be late February, it could be March, depending on the weather. At that time, you want to cut it off, depending on the thickness of the cane, 2 to 5 inches tall. And that allows the sun to penetrate down into the roots and lets the growth come up quickly. Now, dividing them. Well, first of all, let's talk about how you cut them off, because there's an easy way of doing that. What I do, what Larry and I do, is we put bungee cords around them. We have pretty big size plants, so we put bungee cords around them. We take the electric hedge pruner and just zzz, and it's done, off. And then you can just pick up the bundle and take it wherever you need it. So that's a really slick way of doing it. If you don't have a lot of them, hand shears, big hedge shears work really well.
Chainsaw.
Chainsaw works well. We use chainsaws on our big tall pampas grasses. That works really well. Okay, so dividing them. Now this is worth a whole lot to know how to divide grasses. What we do when it's time to move the grasses is we'll dig around half of it with a shovel, about a foot deep. They aren't hugely deep into the ground, but they are very fibrous. So dig down about a foot, around half of it. And then you take a reciprocating saw. You know what a sawzall is? And you take the biggest ripper blade that you can get. You just zzz, right down through the middle, and it goes through it like butter. We even divide our bamboo with that, and it's just so easy. So after you slice down through the middle, then you take your spade and dig underneath it and just lift out half. The other half doesn't even know that it's been divided. How you want to divide them depending on how much room you have, but you divide them about every 3 to 5 years. And how you'll know that it's time to divide, other than running out of space, is that they will start to donut, which they'll die out in the center. So when that happens, that's when you'll want to take just a portion of that and throw the rest. Let's see, what else do we have? Can you think of anything else we're missing? Okay, another thing that you can use besides a reciprocating saw, if you have a smaller grass, you know, like this one, any of the smaller grasses, is just use a bread knife. A serrated bread knife works really well just to go through the ruts. So, any questions?